So let's start. Certainly we wish that we will be 100 here also. This is what we said last time when we met. We have been 50, and everybody said, I will come back and I will bring an international friend to join here. Of reasons we do not know, maybe it's mixed reasons. We are not so many, but I hope we are qualified colloquium and people who are ready to meet each other and to discuss with each other. My name is Bernd Schmid. I guess most of you will know that. And the idea of INOC came to me several years ago, and we did several trials to start this happen. The idea of INOC is to be a meeting point for experienced people coming from different traditions to discuss and develop together concepts at the link of individual orientation, personal orientation of people, and also in their professional roles, and the organizational development. Vida and others we have discussed yesterday already. So all experienced people I know agreed that it's not enough only to develop people and help them to get through transformational processes. And on the other side, think about how we can save the world, but not knowing how we can do something for the gaps in between. And so I guess everybody who is here is interested really to link personal, professional development with organizational development and think about how we can put this together. And in starting this INOC network, we thought about the label organizational coaching, and we wanted to be international. And we found out that the term coaching in different countries is not used for what we mean by organizational coaching. And there are other labels and other developments that tie more into that, like, for example, the Dialogic organization development. And last time we mainly, and this is a chart from last time, we talked in the space between organizational development and organizational coaching. We also had Gianfranco with his project coaching approach. And then Bernhard Hauser is not yet here, but will come. He said, all we deal here with is what we deal with under the label action learning. And I guess there are some more labels under which experienced people want to pursue the topic we try to discuss here. And so I'm glad to have you here, and we invite all labels and all roots and all people with brave hearts to do something to combine the person-oriented approach and the real organization and business and economy and society-oriented approach, and develop that further. And I think we are still in the beginning, really, to tie these things together. And most of the associations are still in old school labeling and schematic thinking, not the individual practitioner. As you may know, because Jarvis Bush didn't come this time here in person, and Ed Shine, because of health reasons, didn't come. I went to Canada and to California and had video interviews with them. And I asked, for example, Jarvis Bush, with whom you will have the opportunity to discuss by Skype this afternoon. He said, see, the reason why Marshak and me invented this book on dialogic organization development is because many practitioners have good approaches, but it doesn't show off in the textbooks, and it's not taught at the universities. and it's not represented enough in the associations. So I firmly believe we have a programmatic gap, and we need to fill that gap. And so I'm very glad that we have here some excellent practitioners and thinkers and book writers and representatives of associations that we can really somehow try to fill that gap. When we did, Peter Hawkins and me yesterday, a video interview in Schlosshof, he said, you might have cited Bateson, maybe Gregory Bateson, is that the problem is that our learning culture is behind the challenges. The challenges are developing quicker than our learning behaviors and habits, and all the organizations behind and around it develop. And we try to do something to fill that gap and meet interesting other people. So it's the time of polarizing between schools is really totally old-fashioned. I'm becoming 70 this year, so I decided I will not be the major driving force with INOC any longer. And so we had an INOC task force, younger people, the next generation, who are ready to take over responsibility, and did much of the work that has been done here in preparing this conference. And Michael played the most important role into that, and I'm so glad that I can pass over to Michael and sit there, and if I can contribute my experience and opinion, it's wonderful, and it's also wonderful not be responsible for everything. Thank you.
Yes, welcome also from me. I've already seen some familiar faces, people I have met before last year at the INOC meeting or in other places, and people who are new to me and probably new also to others. So in order to create this kind of collaborative spirit, I would like to give you an opportunity, and this is all actually how I would like to start, to connect with each other. I know you already have to some extent downstairs in the cafeteria. So I've prepared just 2 questions that could help to also orientate ourselves towards the topic or the topics that we will have on the list. And the reason we put you in little Hörnchen, I don't know the English word for this setting, croissants. Yeah. Is that it makes it easier to talk with your neighbors or with your small group. And the first question I would like to offer to you before I even give you more orientation on the outline and the proceedings is this question. Why do you consider yourself a dialogic organizational development consultant or coach?
If so.
Huh?
If so.
If so, yeah. So how do you connect with what Bernd has just said, basically? So if you could maybe turn your heads to each other in your small groups, maybe in trios if 6 is too big, and just spend 5 minutes to explore this. So thanks for this first, and perhaps we can do one more, and perhaps this time you can even mingle across croissants. So turn around and speak with people from the other small group. And the question we would like to offer you is, what are you interested in learning more about, and or what would you like to explore here? So our assumption is that perhaps you're carrying a question or a topic or some curiosity, or perhaps also just being open-minded and being ready to be surprised. Whatever it is, just find some new people and spend 5 more minutes with them on this question, and then we'll guide you through all the orientation for the 2 days. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Amazing how many different perspectives I've already heard now in these 2 little rounds, and perhaps you've had a similar experience. And actually we have put this meeting under the motto. There were 2 mottos. One was this, be open, join the dialogue, and now another one is perspectives. as we have many perspectives coming together in the field that Bernd has described. And so I'd just like to show you what was the idea, the intention, once again, behind this meeting, but I think that's almost self-understanding. To learn and reflect about the field that we have described and don't mind the labels. To explore trends in our practice and to gain ideas and inspiration for your own practice or projects or work. And also to jointly explore the future potential that this community might bring for each of us. So these are the ideas. And what we have prepared for you is we will have 10 practitioners and academics offer perspectives. And while this may, at the first glance, sound like a lot of lecturing, this is certainly not how it's intended. So each of these sessions is intended to be a trigger for conversations between you. So a little bit like we already started it, we will have contributors who are offering their perspective, which can then start and spark conversations between all of you. That's one part, and there won't be 10 in sequence, so there will be parallel sessions. You can choose with the law of the 2 feet where you go, and you can also change sessions in between. If you find you're not learning or contributing, you just go to the other session. That'll be quite open. Also, we have installed a little bit, we call it an OD lounge. It's next door behind this door. The idea was to have a little bit of a cafe atmosphere where you can also meet in the breaks or in between if you want to find colleagues and discuss other things. And maybe, it should be a meeting point besides the cafeteria, a meeting point right here next to the room where you can meet to see, here's something I'd like to explore, or here's a topic I'd like to share. And there's also a pin board where you can post it. And if you have something, if you post something there, we will make a place for it also here in the room. But that's up to you. So we decided, after long discussions in the design team, not to do an open space technology session because we have so many perspectives and so many space for conversations anyway. But if you brought something which you would like to share or discuss, please post it on the board out there, and we'll find a way how to bring it into the plenary. Yeah, that's basically what we have arranged for you. We can only create the conditions for community or new ideas to emerge. In the end, it will all be done by you. And coming back to the metaphor of perspectives, I know that, Bernd, you often use the metaphor of a stage and stage lights. So let's imagine, we all bring different perspectives or lights on this big elephant that Bernd talked about. So if we can bring them all together, look from many different angles, bring them more and more together, and in the end, something new might emerge, right? So this is basically a theory U in pictures, I thought.
Let's do that.
That could be the co-inspiration moment, which we cannot make, but we can allow it to happen. That's basically what we had when designing these 2 days. And this is also how we would like to start, basically, with, but not before mentioning all the contributors we're going to have and the people who made this possible. So I would like to do that first. You have met Bernd, of course, who is the spiritus rector and mentor of this initiative, and without him it wouldn't happen at all. And we have all these 10 contributors, most of whom are already here, and I'm going to name you and ask you to briefly give a wink, so people know how you are spread around the room. Anandan Geethan will make the start with the first presentation. He's already there, getting ready. Michael Holzhauser here in the front will be in the afternoon in a parallel track together with Günther Fischer and Miriam Ulrich, who are also here in the room. And they will all have a chance later to give an outlook about what perspective they bring. We will have Jervis Bush joining us via Skype this afternoon. And tomorrow, Peter Hawkins is going to do a session with us where he presents his perspective. We will have Nicole Brockman joining, who is not here yet. She worked with Deborah Rowland at RWE and also in a research project on mindfulness and leadership. So she will be here tomorrow. Klaus Hasis and Veronika Lillo-Reut are also here, both who are also part of the design team for this session, and they will have individual perspective sessions tomorrow afternoon. We will have Edgar Schein joining us via Skype tomorrow afternoon in person. So if you've always wanted to ask Ed a question, you can do it tomorrow. Think about it. We will have Kieran Trehan and Bernhard Hauser, who still are going to join us, run an action learning session on Saturday. And then Miriam Zea and myself, we will facilitate the final session on Saturday, also about the potential of this community. So these are the contributors who are on the agenda. And I've asked everyone to speak. You know, I said you can speak in German. It's easier to say in German. You can speak over everything, but not over 30 minutes. So we try to make it really dialogic. So those 90 minutes will have a big portion of dialogue. I also would like to greet our special guest from ODN Europe, Maxine Craig. Hello. And there will be your colleague Gifford Tanza joining us also later this afternoon. I had the big pleasure, together with Bernhard, to attend your conference 2 weeks ago near London. And it's just amazing to see how, we like great minds think alike, right? So there is a similar kind of movement going on in the UK, also with the intention to be very European and international. So we certainly will have a lot of interaction points. I'd also like to, of course, thank all our good spirits in the background who are organizing this meeting with regard to the technical and the organizational side. This is Frida sitting here in the front. Yeah, exactly. Katja Baumeister, I don't know, she's probably still down at the reception, but if we clap loud enough, she can hopefully hear us. There is Almut and Lutz in the back being responsible for the technical side. And Jan, another colleague who has been very helpful in giving transfer services from the airport and other things. Yes. Okay. Yes, so I think this concludes the introduction. One thing, just give me a hand sign if you have had a chance to download the VoxVote app on your phone or device. Not too many? Okay. Perhaps if you still want to try that out, you can do it during the afternoon, because we would like to just give you a digital experience using it. This is something that we've been using in global change settings, and it has a lot of potential. I mean, this tool is just an example, but the idea is so we can also discuss how to combine dialogic and digital, which could be an interesting question for many of us. Yeah, did I forget something, Bernd, that should be mentioned? Would you like to announce Anandan? Yeah. Okay, thank you.